Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Andrew Turner, founder and host of the G&T Sessions podcast. And today we have Mr. Christopher Lochhead and special guest, Bean. Welcome.
Hey, Andrew, thanks for having me. You can see Bean's very excited to be here today. He's my cat who identifies as a dog, and so he likes to hang out with me. And the studio, I have a home studio. We built our home and was able to kind of create an awesome environment for this. And we're surrounded by women. And so the only two dudes.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, is it?
No, I wasn't complaining, but we're the only two dudes around, and we have 8 hens and 2 other girl cats, and of course my wife Carrie. And so Bean and I are surrounded by a lot of female energy. And so the studio is when we have band time, and he loves dudes. Like whenever any dudes come over, my buddies come over to watch football, he wants to do that. Whenever we're like swinging hammers or digging shit up, or can you hear that?
Oh, he's
trying to eat the microphone. Okay, Bean, this is a fucking expensive microphone. Bean, stop it. Anyway, he loves hanging out with dudes, and so the studio is where we do dude things, and so he's hanging out.
This is like your man cave, is it, in San Francisco?
It's exactly what Santa Cruz, actually, on
Santa
the
Cruz,
ocean.
A bit further down. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, we're about an hour and a half drive from San Francisco, right on the coast. Where are you, by the way?
I'm actually on the coast in the UK, just near the beach.
Nice.
On the south coast, but obviously the temperature is slightly different over here.
Yes.
But that's why I've got a hoodie on. Yeah. I'll put this on later.
A hoodie is really one of the greatest inventions of all time. It really is. Particularly if you're you're a man of my follicle capabilities or lack thereof.
Well, there's lots of things that you can like hang in little pockets and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the accessibility. Bean, stop eating the fucking microphone. Jesus Christ. Yes, the accessibility of just being able to.
Is this the first edible microphone you got?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw. Shure came out with an edible SM7B. Apparently, it tastes like tuna.
Well, you see, I was going to say is that a reference? That's a segue to Bad Tuna Industries. You see, into that's
right. That's right. It's a collaboration that Shure microphones have done with Bad Tuna Industries to create the first cat-friendly tuna tasting microphone from Shure and Bad Tuna Industries, just at the request of Bean. So you got to listen to your super consumers.
Extensive market research. Well,
yes, it is an amazing thing for anybody who's ever had an animal. Have you ever had an animal really truly love you?
I had a rabbit when I was very young.
Yeah,
but I think I'm allergic to cats and dogs because I kind of like start, of reacting to it. So I think it's the hair. So
yeah,
but this is actually the first episode ever in over 100 episodes of the G&T Sessions where the guest has actually brought a second, BFF on the show. And obviously,
well, if you give me 2 minutes, I can run down and grab one of our hens, chickens, or as we call them, the dinosaurs. And we have a couple of them. We have 8, and a couple of them are really, really super friendly. They're very, very, very tame. And if I brought Abigail and I just held her like this here, she would sit here for the whole podcast. She's done it before.
Oh wow!
She sits at the studio's on the second level, and there's an outside staircase to get to it. And Abigail will sit at the staircase, and she'll call me when she knows I'm up here. So my point is, I can bring more critters to bear if you like, Andrew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's bring a menagerie in.
Yes. And for the record, the dinosaurs and Bean get along great.
Oh, yeah, they don't. Also, so that Bean doesn't chase Abigail and try and devour her.
I mean, every once in a while, like playfully, but no. They he's very sweet with them. As a matter of fact, he will sit and watch over them.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, he's protective of them.
He's
yeah,
like
it's
a big
quite
brother.
something. Yeah, and they're not afraid of him at all. It's quite, when someone comes over for the first time and they see it, they're like, what? Birds and cats, right? And so one of the dinosaurs will walk by him like 2 inches in front of his face, and we're like, what the fuck was that? Well,
like teasing him,
Yeah,
galling him. Come on, chase me.
exactly. So sometimes I feel like Noah with the ark around here.
Well, you know, when that hour comes again, you see, you be ready, won't you? You be ready.
I'm ready. I'm
You've
ready
got
for whatever comes.
you've got all your animal posse with you.
Exactly. I'm ready to go.
So the legendary episode that this will be is actually, you know, it's actually, I was just obviously on the pre chat, you know, I explained to Christopher that I flew to San Francisco over 7 years ago, and then we went to this sales kickoff with an unnamed tech company near Mountain View. It wasn't Google, somebody else. But then they gave us some homework, and they gave us this legendary book that if anybody's in technology or in marketing generally, well, in marketing actually, I suppose, if you haven't read this book, then I'm disappointed in you. But this is a legendary piece of work that I think there's a certain person, Christopher Lochhead, on here. Look on the top here. So I suppose first question.
And I must say, my collaborators on that book are some legendary men. Al Ramadan and Kevin Maney are just incredible. And interestingly enough, it was published by a major publisher, HarperCollins, and many, and now it's in the top kind of 0.5% of business books ever written, which is shocking because I didn't think it would. We can talk about that if you like. I really didn't think it would go anywhere.
Oh, really?
But interestingly enough, we were turned down by many major publishers because they didn't think that a group of guys like that could actually write a book, and we did, and I'm super proud of it. And most importantly, I get emails, I get tweets, I get LinkedIn's every single day from around the world. And that book was the catalyst for what we wanted to do, Andrew, is open source this thing called category design and kind of give it to the world. And Play Bigger was our opening salvo, to give category design away. And not everybody gets the gift that we're giving. That's for sure. We can talk about that if you like. But the people who do realize that category design is the greatest underground superpower in business. And once they learn it, once they see it, they can't unsee it. And it makes a massive difference in the success of businesses and startups. And so I'm really proud that we did something that has had that kind of difference at that kind of scale.
And what was the trigger for it? What was the trigger for doing it? Was it just frustration, or was it something that you just kind of like got to an epiphany moment, like you just kind of woke up one night screaming or something like that? I don't know. It's, you know, what happened?
Yeah, so all credit goes to one of my dear friends, Peggy Burke. And Peggy, before she retired, was the greatest brand designer in Silicon Valley. She ran an agency called 1185. She did tons of work with Cisco and Apple and all the major VC firms, Sequoia, Kleiner, Excel, et cetera. Whenever they invested in a new company, they would send them to Peggy, and she'd be the one that would help to create their brand and their branding strategy. So literally a living legend, and probably the greatest brand designer in Silicon Valley history, certainly one of them. And so we had been friends for many, many years. And for years, she was on me to write a book. And I was like, I got, busy. And she finally sat me down over lunch one day and said, listen, she read me the Riot Act. And so after that lunch, Al and I started talking, and we thought, well, what if Peggy's right? And then we talked to our dear friend Kevin Maney, who's one of the greatest writers in the history of the technology industry, and really to just see, what did Kevin think? And Kevin sort of said, guys, you have something really important here, and I'd love to be part of it. And so that's really how it came together. And I would tell you, Andrew, my batting average, if you will, with getting category design to kind of stick for people, for getting it to land in their brain, was probably about 200. 2 out of 10 people, I could get them to a place where they'd have an aha.
Well, only two out of 10.
Only 2 out of 10, yeah.
Wow.
And so when we wrote the book, at least from my personal perspective, I thought of it as, well, this is my last ditch attempt. If this doesn't get category design to go kerplunk at any kind of scale, I'll just be the fucking weirdo in the corner drinking whiskey, drooling on myself, talking about point of views and category design.
Rocking like this with the whiskey.
Yeah, just going there going, lightning strikes, branding's bullshit in the absence of category, all the stuff. You need to become known for a niche you own and all this. And I would have just been the old weird guy in the corner. And the book came out, and it's been said many times, many ways, but there's a fine line between insanity and genius. And so apparently now we're geniuses, when for a long period of time we were considered fucking insane. And by the way, most of Silicon Valley still thinks we're insane. Most of Silicon Valley still disagrees with us.
But it's interesting. I mean, just jumping forward to today and looking at one of your recent, different posts about, everybody wants to be an Apple. Everybody wants to be a market like an Apple, or be an Apple company. But, when you break down the homepage and stuff like that about, how they get it. But, there's been so many tech companies I've worked with that try and emulate it, but then actually do they understand the fundamentals? That's what you're kind of saying, is that they kind of put products above category, and they kind of work. It doesn't work in the long term. They don't get the traction that they want, the desire, or their ambition that they want to achieve.
Well, and they miss the fundamental thing about Apple. Virtually every company, they're trying to emulate Apple. Well, let's just think about this. So one of the things that is a core tenet, it's actually law number 1 in the 22 laws of category design. Thinking about thinking is the most important kind of thinking. So let's just think about this for a second. We want to emulate Apple. Okay. Apple, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, did not want to emulate anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were the greatest thing a human being or a business can be, which is original. Now, we all start somewhere. Everybody stands on the shoulders of giants. Every rock band starts off learning to play covers. Once you can play 3 chords.
Smoke on the Water.
Right. Well, the minute you can do that, you're now a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute you go, oh, well, maybe if I don't go, maybe if I go, maybe I could do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all start by emulating others. But here's the aha. There are a sum total of 0 cover bands in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And so those trying to emulate Apple are doing the exact opposite thing that Apple did. Apple followed their different. Apple designed new market categories. Apple designed breakthrough new technologies and approaches and experiences and distribution models and many other radically innovative category defining and creating things. What they didn't do is go, how can we be more like Nike? They didn't do that. And so the irony is...
how can we be like Samsung or Huawei or something like that? They just didn't...
Correct.
They charted their own course, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. And so the irony is, as part of the poking of fun I was having with people, is your company's never going to be Apple. And the more you emulate Apple, the more of a donkey you are. Now, I'm not suggesting that, if you use the band analogy, that covers aren't worth learning. They're very worth learning. Studying the greats is powerful. And then the only way you can create a radically different future that makes a giant difference is to unshackle yourself from the past. So we study the masters. We want to learn to play all the great music, but we use that as a basis for creating our own different, our own originality, our own new ways of learning, thinking, and playing. And doing business.
But I suppose the question that links to is that, are they trying to do that, some organizations, because they feel that that's their Linus blanket, back to Peanuts, yeah, Charlie Brown, yeah. Is it their kind of they're not brave enough to jump off the cliff and define their own define their own path, because that takes bravery, doesn't it?
It takes courage to be legendary.
It takes courage, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't have that courage, go work for the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles. Right? You have no business being an entrepreneur. You have no business being a marketer. And look, most people will spend their entire lives working on the incremental. And there's a place for incrementalism. A lot of small incremental changes over time can make a giant breakthrough. And there are certain areas where we want incrementalism. I want Boeing incrementally changing things and testing the shit out of them. I don't want to be the first guy on the exponential new plane.
Yeah.
So there's a place for incrementalism. However, that place is not building legendary startups. That place is not doing breakthrough marketing. That place is not introducing the world to new ways to live, work, and play. That's not what that's about. And so if you're in an incremental game, then great. Go study total quality management. Go study ISO 9000, continuous improvement, Kaizens. There's a ton written here. A lot of it goes back to the godfather of this work, who I deeply respect. He was a category designer named W. Edwards Deming, the godfather of the quality movement. And so there's a lot of room for this. If I'm a CFO and I'm continuously trying to incrementally improve the way we close the books every quarter or what have you, those are all very important things. I'm not shitting on any of that at all. What I am saying is the business world is radically over-indexed on that. And if you're playing a game called, we want to launch a legendary new product, we want a legendary new company, we want to launch a legendary new category, we want to go from nothing to something extraordinary that delivers massive new value. If that's the world that you want to be in, 99% of the thinking, the writing, the content, and the discussion in business is a much more incremental, to your point, less courageous, more safe approach, which again has its place. But if you take that approach to trying to design and dominate new market categories, you're going to have your ass handed to you.
You're going to get squashed. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, don't you think there has been a period where some of the things that have come out of Silicon Valley become a bit samey? There hasn't been enough embracing of that. I mean, your latest vehicle. I can't keep up with how many vehicles you've got. Actually, you've got like category pirates. Arrr. We're gonna do our pirate thing. Arrr. Come on, arrr.
Arrr.
Even doing that on messaging between each other. Arrr. I should have put a pirate outfit on today. Because even with
when you're a pirate, though, Andrew, everything you wear is a pirate outfit. I'm always wearing a pirate outfit.
Well, you see my thing here, look.
Yeah, not all who wander are lost. Exactly.
See? There you go.
I've been wandering around for many decades.
Wandering around in the wilderness. But what I noticed is that some of the brand stuff that have happened over the last few years has become a bit samey. That people haven't thought about the core customer experience. They've kind of like seen Airbnb, the usual suspects, yeah, and they kind of mimic that, and it just becomes a bit samey, a bit undifferentiated. So I think is that an epidemic that's happening? That's where the founders are trying to play it safe.
Yes.
They're not hiring maybe a disruptive CMO or head of marketing. Or not embracing category design, that especially depending on what their background is, whether they've got a technical or business background. That's why there's a gap there. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so there's an aha here that I think is important. Many of the key learnings in category design sort of hide in plain sight. And then as we teach people, category design is, yes, something you learn for sure. And yet at some level, it's more something you get. So let's take a step back. There is an undeclared, undiscussed, undialogued, unchallenged mental scaffolding that is used in business. which is what we're doing here is we are creating a better product,
Mm-hmm.
better brand, a better company, a better distribution model, a better pricing strategy in order to compete to win market share
Mhm.
of an existing market.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go and read the vast majority of business and marketing books on Amazon, what you'll see is that's what they're about. How to compete and win. That theme is literally everywhere. All the Michael Porter stuff is that. Innovator's Dilemma is that.
Yeah.
The vast majority of what you're going to read in Harvard Business Review is that.
Mhm.
Most business books are about how to compete and win on some dimension. Well, that's great, but nobody legendary fucking did that.
Mm.
Literally nobody. Picasso in his early career is chasing Van Gogh. Nobody pays attention. Why? Because he's essentially painting cover songs of Van Gogh paintings. And he's a very good painting, but no
Yeah.
one cares.
Mhm.
The minute he says, I'm going to do something radically different. And if you go to his Wikipedia page, it's either on the first or second line. It refers to him as the creator or leader or one of the principal creators or leaders, I forget the exact language, of Cubism.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so here's the aha. And this fucks with people's head in a way that most people can't ever really get it. The category makes the brand.
Mm. It's like a reversal.
Well, yes. No market,
Mm.
no company.
Mm.
And in the case of Picasso, he's originally competing in a market designed by Van Gogh. So he's competing. He's playing what's called, in category design, the comparison game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's do a little exercise, Andrew. You want to do a little category design school exercise?
Of course.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Don't think about pink elephants. Don't think about pink elephants. No pink elephants, no pink elephants, no pink elephants. Think about anything you want, anything at all. No pink elephants. Think about orange giraffes. Think about whatever you want. And under no circumstances, no pink elephants. Absolutely no pink elephants. What's in your mind?
Orange giraffe.
Yeah. Well, that's Pepsi's entire history.
Yeah.
Pepsi
Yeah.
tastes
Yeah.
better
Okay.
than Coke. Pepsi tastes better than Coke. Pepsi challenge. 4 out of 5 people pick Pepsi, not Coke. What's in your mind? Coke. This is what almost every fucking company does. And so here's the aha. Better forces a comparison,
Mm-hmm.
often, most often, to the category leader.
Yeah.
Different forces a choice.
Mm. Yeah, because you in that example, you're playing second fiddle basically to the leader
Every time.
all the time. Yeah,
You can't win. Let me give you one of my favorite examples.
You're playing catch up. You're like, oh, the miles ahead, the miles ahead. Yeah.
Well, and you're like the stupidest thing. We see this in tech all the time.
Mm.
A company will put the new Gartner report on their fucking homepage.
Yeah.
That's insanity. Because that's saying, here's me, and here are all the companies you should compare me to.
Mm.
If you go back to Apple, Steve Jobs' point of view,
That's
Steve
very
Wozniak's point of view is we don't compare ourselves to anyone. Everyone else compares themselves to us.
Mm. That's very interesting. You know, you raised that because literally I've done some work recently, some competitive analysis, and literally, I think it's like 6 out of this. You know, we're working on a new category design, right? But six of these players in this so-called existing market, they literally have Forrester or Gartner or IDC above the fold. It's incredible.
They're insane. They're saying, please compare me.
Mm.
I'll give you one of my favorite examples of late. So during the pandemic, as I mentioned earlier, I live in Santa Cruz, California, and it's a wonderful, wacky, creative California beach town, quintessential California beach town.
Yeah, surfing
Surfing. Big time surfing.
Surfing and skateboarding.
That's right. I mentioned Al Ramadan, co-author of Play Bigger. He's chairman of Save the Waves.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, unbelievable nonprofit. We're all behind him and support them tremendously. And he's doing some incredible things right now to help save the California coastline. But that's a different conversation we can have. Anyway, so during the pandemic, there were some guys who, young guys, made pizza, did all this stuff. They lost their jobs. So they started to do a pop-up once or twice a week. They would do a pop-up where they'd make pizza at a local brew pub that was allowed to sell through a window, and you could order the pizza and pick up the beers and take them home.
Right.
And I forget what they called it, but they had some name. Maybe it was their two names, or I forget what it was. And their style of pizza that they make is what is typically called Detroit style pizza.
Okay.
And it's a thicker crust.
Deep pan or something.
Yeah, think almost like a focaccia with a pizza on it. That kind of direction.
Okay.
And they were criticized, however, because there's some people here who are from the Detroit area who said, well, this isn't real Detroit pizza. It's inauthentic. You're adding this, you're doing that, the bread's different, whatever it is, right? I don't know all the details, but it wasn't the real thing. So kind of how dare you call it Detroit pizza? So they renamed the company. That brew pub that they were in once or twice a week, they rent space in. The pandemic ends. They've built a client base. They've built up some revenue to get themselves going. So they fully open and launch. They rebrand themselves. I can't remember the old name, but the new name is called Bookies. 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 I don't know where they came up with the name. Whatever. Bookies. And if you Google right now, Bookies Santa Cruz Pizza, what you'll see on their homepage is the same thing you see on the sign in front of the place. It says Bookies, inauthentic Detroit pizza.
Different.
Radically different. Now think about this. In our town, like in a lot of towns, there are more pizza places than I can count. Right? And there's many I don't even know. There's a bunch of independents, then there's the chains and blah, 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 blah. And most of them sell very similar pizzas, different levels of quality, and maybe you like this one a little bit of that one, and maybe there's this independent you like, but if you have to get a chain, maybe you have it, whatever the fuck, right? But they're all plus or minus standard kind of American, let's just call it American style pizza. But guess what? There's only one place in Santa Cruz, California, you can get inauthentic Detroit pizza.
They've got like a niche. They've niched down into a niche of one.
Correct. And so my point is, most entrepreneurs, most marketers, most CEOs, most CMOs can learn more about how to drive revenue, how to stand out, how to be different, and how to create your own space, your own market category where you can stand alone and enjoy all the things that market leaders enjoy: pricing power, increase margins, et cetera, et cetera. When you are willing to stand alone in a different place. And so now Bookies is number one. They're the number one inauthentic Detroit pizza place in Santa Cruz, California. They're not one of 100 pizza places that are all relatively indistinguishable. That's the difference. And most business people, most people with Harvard MBAs, most CEOs of S&P 500 companies, most startup CMOs, A, don't understand what the small business owners at Bookies understand, and B, don't have the courage to be different because they've been trained to compete for existing demand as opposed to create their own.
Is that because of the? I mean, there's a piece around the individual about courage and how ballsy you want to be, but is it also a symptom of planning as well? Is it a symptom of the finance side of planning, where about the kind of like they They say, okay, we can put the boundaries of an existing market. We can say we've got a market share acquisition strategy around, we'll get 1, 2, 5%, 3, 5% of that market, rather than actually trying to model a new category, a new white space is more challenging. Yeah, is that also another
Absolutely.
factor?
Absolutely. And here's what most people don't understand. For that book you held up at the beginning of our discussion, we did a series of primary research led by Al Ramadan. And we wanted to ask a question that we came to find out had never been asked before. We went to Stanford and we hung out with a bunch of really smart professors because we wanted to see if this research had been done. And the research we were looking for is what percentage of value in any given market category, as defined by the values of the company, that is to say the market caps if they're public and the valuations if they're private. So let's say there's 10 companies in category X. Let's add up the total value of those companies, and then let's find out what percentage of that number goes to the leader, the category king, the category queen. And we were hoping somebody had done this research. It seemed like obvious research to us. And Professor Tina Selig at Stanford, who's in charge of their entrepreneurial thought leaders program there, said to us, sorry, guys, I've never heard of that. You're going to have to do it yourself. So we did. Because heretofore, what had been measured is market share, which is a very important thing, which is what is the percentage of sales in a given market category going to certain companies. That's important, very important. And the ultimate measure of the success of a business is its long-term enduring value. And so we wanted to look at it through a different lens called market cap. So here's what we discovered. We studied every venture-backed tech company founded in the United States of America from the year 2000 to the year 2015, and we tracked that data that I just described. And then we looked for what was the average, and here's the aha. On average in tech, one company earns 76% of the total value in the market category.
Wow.
And so, and even if you're not in a pure quote unquote tech market, here's the aha. Every market's turning into a tech market, right? Once you understand that a Tesla is not an electronic vehicle, it's a human assisted robot. That's what it is. Your mind shifts, right? So if you're in the automotive business, you're no longer making cars. You're in the robot business. Right now, they're human assisted. It changes your thinking. In category design, that's called a from to, or a Frodo for short. From automobiles, a device that humans use to get around, to human assisted robots. When you buy a Rivian, you know what takes the longest to get the Rivian off the lot? It takes roughly an hour for your Rivian and your phone to merge into one device. And to the best of my knowledge, I could be wrong, but to the best of my knowledge, if you don't have a smartphone, you can't drive a Rivian.
Oh, wow.
Because your transportation, your iPhone, your smartphone is now part of your Rivian. When you buy a Rivian, your smartphone becomes a digital accessory to your human-assisted robot.
Wow.
And so my point is, category designers think in very different ways about the future and how to design the market categories of the future. It's one thing when you say, how can I compete with a better, faster, cheaper brand, product, distribution model, et cetera. It's a whole other thing when you say, how do I category design the human-assisted robot market category?
And I mean, in terms of it, that's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, it's triggering some fascinating thoughts in my head, and it's also, I suppose, is it? I mean, do the VCs get it? Do you think?
The vast majority of them do not, because the VCs are like everybody else. Everybody, look, they even have a term for it: chasing alpha. Right? They're chasing growth. Okay, well, my friend Jim Getz at Sequoia, who is considered for the better part of a decade to be the #1 venture capitalist in the world, and Sequoia is fucking Sequoia. There's Sequoia and everybody who wishes they were Sequoia in the VC business. And there are other great firms, don't get me wrong, and I have great relationships with lots of them, but Sequoia is the Mac Daddy, right? And Jim says, we like to invest in $0 billion markets. Jim says if the category exists, we're not interested. Brian Schreier at Sequoia.
They qualify out if it's.
Yeah, they don't want to fight for existing share.
Yeah,
Brian Schreier.
Yeah, it's too hard. Yeah.
Brian Chesney, the founder of Airbnb, went to see every venture capitalist in Silicon Valley on Sand Hill Road, and they all laughed him out because they're a bunch of 40 to 50-year-old dudes who go, who the fuck would want to rent their couch? And what happens if it's a serial killer? And oh my God, terrible things could happen. This might be illegal and, the crime, and who the hell knows? This is the dumbest fucking idea I ever heard. Brian Schreier and the folks at Sequoia said, this is what legendary VCs do. Mm-hmm. What would have to be true for this to be successful?
Yeah.
Not what is already true that proves this won't be successful.
Mm.
And so in order to write the check to Airbnb, Sequoia has to be willing to consider a radically different future based on a radically different insight/problem. Well, most VCs aren't going to do that. Most VCs are like everybody else. They want to bet on a sure thing. They want to bet on it. Right now, they're all chasing AI, which is smart. Go chase AI. But here, you want to unpack what's going on in AI? I got a fucking email. I got a fucking email, Andrew, in the last week or so from Google.
Okay.
Saying we are changing the name of Google Bard, which is their ChatGPT competitor.
No, to Gemini. Yeah.
To Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the generative AI market category battle started in November of 23 when GPT opened up.
22. Yeah, 22.
Excuse me, yes, 22. That's right. And then really took off in 23.
Yeah, I agree.
So in early 24, Google changes their name of their MeToo product. It looks and behaves exactly the same as GTP. I would argue, as a user for my use cases, Bard's actually the better application for me personally, because I'm often dealing with current things. And so the fact that it can access current information, current news.
Oh yeah, because it can track the internet as well as the LLM historical data. Yeah.
Right. To me, that's a radical.
Rather than being cut off. Yeah.
Rather than being cut off. And even though GPT continues to move the cutoff date up and up and up, it's still cut off, right? Personally, I would have designed a new category around that, but they didn't. They rather than doing category design, they did positioning. See, positioning is when I try to eke out a space in an existing market. Category design is when I say, oh, that's really interesting. We're doing something different. So here's the aha. When you get an email from a company who's been playing a follow the leader catch-up game, competing, a year and a half barely into the category battle that you could argue is the most important consumer-facing tech category battle by a long shot right now, which is, let's just call it consumer-facing AI, generative AI. And they changed their name. They've already declared that it's over. They've lost. And interestingly enough, at the beginning of 2024, I got a very similar email from Google that said, we're about to sunset Google Podcasts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, why did they do that? Well, guess what?
Well, they lost against Spotify, I presume.
And Apple.
Mm.
Right? So in podcasts, Apple's number one, Spotify's number two. Spotify will probably never catch Apple. And now Google just threw in the towel. Reminds me very much of an email I got years ago. See, Google launched a Facebook killer, quote unquote, called Google Plus.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And it was going to be the new social...
was. Yeah.
Right. Of course you didn't remember. Right. So why aren't there 6 billion people on Google Plus today? It was a superior product. It was absolutely gorgeous. They're going to keep making this multi-billion-dollar mistake over and over and over again. Because what Google doesn't understand is when you play a better game in a category designed by someone else, that is to say they have framed, named, and claimed a problem, and their solution now is viewed as owning... their solution is now viewed as owning that problem. There is fucking nothing anybody can do, whether it's billions spent by Pepsi trying to unseat Coke, or whether it's billions spent by Google trying to unseat Apple, or trying to unseat Facebook, or trying to unseat OpenAI. They keep losing billions and billions and billions. Why? We have great technology and products. Our product's better. And there was a report that just came out that said that Google's one of the top 10 brands in the world. What more could you want? Oh, and here's another one, Andrew. In Silicon Valley right now, the fucking idiots are saying the number one thing you need to be successful is distribution. If you have a distribution advantage, that's it. Oh, really? There is no fucking product that had a greater distribution advantage than Google Podcasts. There's no fucking product that had a greater distribution and brand advantage than Google Bard. Done. Finished. Why? She who designs the category wins. And the only way you can unseat a category queen is to frame, claim, and name a new, different problem. Instead of...
Yeah, they've got to really leapfrog, or to your point, is actually basically carve out that new category, haven't they? Otherwise, it's like they're just pouring money into the bucket, and there's a hole in the bottom of the bucket.
Yes. Here, can I give you another one of my favorite ones? So the founder CEO of this company just recently reached out to us. His name is Sean Riley, and the company is called Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes. And what they are is moist towelettes for dudes to wipe their asses with. That's what they are. Now, it turns out, you guys are aware of the show in the U.S., the Shark Tank. You probably have some British knockoffs of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, what do we call it?
Is there a British Shark Tank?
Yeah, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Still a very, very popular show in the United States. Great show. A great show because, to me, it celebrates entrepreneurship in a powerful way, and it's helping to bring entrepreneurship to the masses, and I deeply appreciate them for that. Anyway, so the Dude Wipes guys failed the first two...
It's called Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den.
Dragon's Den. Okay, yeah, same thing. Yeah, okay. So these guys at Dude Wipes are one of the 5 most successful investments in the history of the U.S. Shark Tank. They started off a bunch of college buddies sitting around having beers going, dudes have nasty asses. We think dudes should have clean asses. Toilet paper doesn't get the job done, and most guys don't wipe their ass very well with toilet paper, and even if they try to, toilet paper doesn't do the job. And there are these generic wipes from Clorox and a few other companies coming out. But, dudes have very particular ass wipe needs. That's what these guys said. I'm not making this up. It's hysterically funny. The whole thing is funny. He does all the jokes like, oh, everybody said it was a shitty idea. Like all of it, right? It's nonstop fun. Anyway, here's the awesome part. They're doing $150 million in revenue, and last year they wiped 2.4 billion asses, and they're one of the top 5 most successful investments in the history of Shark Tank. Now, what did they do? They didn't invent a new algorithm. They're not doing SpaceX. They're not a bunch of technology geniuses. These are just a bunch of duty dudes going to college together in Chicago, getting their first jobs, getting their first apartments, getting together over pizza and beers, and they had a crazy idea. And unlike most people who forget about the crazy idea, they went and did the crazy idea. And Sean said that they built the company on the principles of category design. They're not called dude and gal wipes. No,
right.
niche down. They're not called dude, gal, and children wipes. No. They're fucking dude wipes for dudes with nasty asses. Hey, dudes, you have a nasty ass. Toilet paper's not going to get it done. You need dude wipes. $150 million in less than a decade from nothing. And they've created a whole new category in, oh, and here's one other part of the story that's really important. Sean tells us on the podcast. It's not out yet. When they first start getting into the major retailers like Kroger's and Target and the like, I forget which one it was. He says, maybe it was Target. When they first go in, the merchandisers at the retailer put them in the men's grooming aisle. Now, remember, every grocery store, every department store is organized by category. There's a mega category called produce. And then there's an apple section and an oranges section and a tomatoes section. Those are all subcategories of the larger category called produce. And if you're looking for bananas, that's where you go to the, and if you're looking for, you want a new steak, or last night, this part of the world that I live in this time of the year, we have incredible crab, and it's almost the end of crab season. And so last night we got fresh cut crab. Okay. So here's what happens. Dude Wipes, and again, I think it was Target, I could be wrong, but it was one of the majors. The merchandiser puts them in the men's grooming aisle. And the sales are terrible. People don't know what they are. They don't know what to do with them. Doesn't go anywhere. Sean and the dudes at Dude Wipes say, no. You have to put us next to the toilet paper. Yes, we're for dudes, but for dudes' asses. They put them in the toilet paper. They move them from men's grooming to toilet paper, and the sales take off. That's the power of category design. Same product, wrong market category. From men's grooming to toilet paper for men, same product, revenue skyrockets. That's the power of being in the right category.
I mean, that's like the beer and nappies thing from Walmart, isn't it? Similar to that. But I mean, that's an incredible story.
Yes.
I thought you were joking when you started telling us that story.
I know, it sounds like a joke. But they're beloved. And men who use the product, they love these guys. They love it.
Look.
Niche down. That's what it is. Well, and it's a combination of category design and niche down, which are sort of two sides of the same coin, right? So there's an existing market category called toilet paper. There's an existing market category called bum wipes. There's an adjacent category called hand wipes. There's an adjacent category called pet wipes, which he definitely needs, et cetera, et cetera. Baby wipes are different. But what they realize is, there are no purpose-built wipes for men. And they look at it and go, A, we're dudes, and we want to have clean asses. And B, in general, dudes have the nastiest asses. Of course they do. And so, ta-da, Dude Wipes. It's what legendary category design often is, Andrew. It's a combination of identifying a new and different problem, and also looking at existing markets and seeing an opportunity to innovate / specialize / focus / niche down.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mashup, what they did there, isn't it? It's a bit like a mashup.
Absolutely.
They kind of like looked at it from different perspectives. That's really interesting.
As a matter of fact, a lot of great categories are like that. Here's another one. So for Valentine's Day, I'm trying to remember. Hold on. She just came in the studio. What was the name of the back roller thing you got me? Chirp. Perfect. Okay, so there's this company called...
This is a present from last week, was it?
Correct. So there's a company called Chirp, and they make foam rollers. And if you're an athletic person, or you're a person that has any back pain or leg pain or whatever, you probably have a foam roller, and you get on the ground and you roll on this thing, and it helps your back and helps. It's essentially a way to massage and open yourself up, right? And this has been around for a while, and these guys at Chirp, this is what they do. And then a new category emerges several years ago now. And that category is often called the percussion gun or a percussion massager. So think of something that sort of looks like a gun, looks like a drill. Yeah, exactly. And it vibrates and kind of massages your muscles. So that category starts to emerge 5-10 years ago. Well, they sit there and they go, what would happen if we combined a massage gun, percussion massager, and a foam roller? We could have a percussion foam roller. Imagine how that could be, because then you could roll around on something that's massaging you at the same time. Ta-da! New category design. And I'm a guy that likes to ski and surf and do all this mountain bike and do all this shit. And I'm a man of a certain age, which means I'm always in somewhat of physical pain. And so unlocking angry parts of my body is a thing I have to do on a very regular basis. And it turns out that in spite of my bad behavior, my wife does love me. So she bought me a new category of product, at least new to me, called a Chirpy percussion foam roller. Ta-da. And so often, Andrew, new categories emerge from, if you think about a Venn diagram, from combining one or two or three or multiple things that heretofore had not existed. And ta-da, you put them together in an innovative way. And Dude Wipes. Chirpy.
I was going to say, how do you just to get into the detail of that, how does that foam gun work? Do you actually lie on it?
Yeah, if you look at it, so it's got two ends that you can hold on to, and then a middle part that rolls with bumpies on it. And you can roll it on yourself with your hands, like over your thigh or something like that, which I do. But because they want you to be able to roll on it as well, they sell it in a little bracket where the two hand pieces that you would use when you're rolling it on yourself snap into a bracket, fit on the floor, and you can roll around on this thing and it rolls. You don't have to touch it with your hands because you're rolling around on your back or your ass or whatever happens to be sore, and it's on the ground in this bracket, and the power is going. So you have a stationary foam roller that has a massaging capability in it as you roll around, and if you're like me, moan and groan and sound like a water buffalo who's trying to fix himself.
Is it just for one person, or can you have your partner doing it as well at the same time? Can you like saddle up, you know?
Well, I guess you can make anything partner oriented. Yeah, anything can be partner oriented if you want it to be, Andrew.
It depends how creative you get. Yeah, okay.
But this is where radical innovation lives. And it's interesting that, Andrew, so often it's early stage startups, it's small businesses who figure out category first, product, company, and brand second. Because categories fundamentally are about customers, their problems, their needs, sometimes problems they know they have, sometimes a problem they know they have, but is recast in a different light. I know I have a problem called I'm stiff and I want to roll it out. Ooh, I never thought about drilling it. Ooh, fuck. I never thought about foam rolling and drilling at the same time. That's an interesting way to think about the problem and introduce a new solution, right? And so the source of all legendary businesses is an insight around a problem that is either an existing problem reimagined or a whole new problem that we didn't even know we had. And when the world sees the problem and gets it, they can't unsee it. And here's the other aha about how the human brain works. We talk a lot about brain science and category design. If you articulate my problem more effectively and powerfully than anyone else, or you're the first to educate me about a problem that I didn't realize that I had, my brain assumes you have the answer. And the most successful people in the world don't own a brand. They own a problem. And marketing is upside down backwards. See, because when we market our brand, people think they want our money, and we do. When we market their problem, people think we want to help them. And so in category design, we talk a lot about the difference between missionaries and mercenaries. I'm not saying making money's bad. Making money's fucking great. God bless capitalism. And category designers are on a mission to make a difference around a big, important new problem. And they frame, name, and claim that problem, and therefore become the solution. And then they become the immutable, unmovable queen or king of that market category.
Well, they become, I mean, it's like that game, isn't it, about the, I remember the thing about what of IKEA, Bird's Eye, Salesforce, and Uber, got, that remember that question that you put out there, yeah? They fish fingers, yeah, frozen foods, flat pack furniture, cloud software, etc. I've used that question actually.
Well, and here's the aha. If you take Salesforce as an example, no cloud software, no Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
The reason Mark Benioff was able to build the largest building, or the tallest building west of the Mississippi in the United States of America, is because he's the category designer of the cloud. The category made the company. If the cloud doesn't take off, no Benioff. Everybody thinks, oh, ChatGPT, greatest new product in history. Well, there's some real truth to that. It's amazing technology. And Sam Altman is the category designer of generative AI. Why do you think he spends so much time evangelizing generative AI? He's building the category.
Yeah.
All category designers, by definition, are evangelists. They're moving the world from an old place to a new and different place. And the degree to which they're not competing against competitors as companies. They're competing against the status quo. They're competing against the old way of doing things. Tesla's not competing with GM. Tesla is competing with ICE cars. It's a completely different mindset. They're competing with the old way of transportation.
Yeah, it's interesting because before, I mean, so I've used that phrase with quite a few tech founders that I've worked with, and they just don't get it. They just don't know what that comparison. They probably recognize Salesforce, but they don't know about IKEA. They don't know about Bird's Eye, for example. It's a fascinating little game you can play.
Well, here's a fun way to play it with them, Andrew. Name me a person, product, brand, or company that you admire. Name me one. Last week I was in Tahoe. So you ask snowboarders this question, and the answer you almost always get is Burton. That's right. And sometimes they actually name Jake Burton. Why do they name Jake Burton? Well, he's the creator of the snowboard. However, if he didn't category design the market, nobody would be snowboarding. When he creates the snowboard, it is made illegal. Ski hills don't want this thing. It's dangerous. Snowboarders are fucking up the mountain. It's this, it's that, whatever it is, right? He has to do incredible things to, I'm going to use these words very much on purpose, Andrew, condition the market to accept snowboarding as a legitimate sport, not just a bunch of yahoos. He literally makes the market from nothing. And not only did he design a legendary new category that has given joy to millions and millions of people, the innovation of snowboarding starts influencing skiing. And right now, I think most people in the broad industry of, let's call it mountain sports, would say that skis right now are maybe more innovative in the last handful of years than snowboards, because ski technology has been radically influenced by snowboard technology. They're wider, the side cut. I could get into the whole fucking thing if it mattered, and so now skis are being more innovative, and some of the skiing technology is influencing snowboard. Anyway, here's my point. Why would somebody in the mountain sports industry, or the action sports industry, when asked who's somebody you admire, why might they say Jake Burton? Well, he didn't. If he had positioned snowboards as better skis, we would not know his name. If he had positioned snowboards as better skis, snowboarding would be Google Plus. Snowboarding, I shit you not. Microsoft spent billions of dollars on the Microsoft Store. It's an exact copy of the Apple Store. They bragged that everybody in America was less than 20 miles from one or something at one point. They're all fucking shut because they looked exactly like they're all shut.
The Microsoft
all the Microsoft
stores.
stores are shut.
Oh,
they shut them. Why? Different wins and better loses.
I'm been in London recently, but there was the Apple Store the main Apple Store opened, the first one in London, and literally they opened a Microsoft store 2 doors down on the corner, trying to obviously get the footfall. Wow.
Yeah, they look exactly the same. There's only one difference. The Apple Store is full. I used to joke that Microsoft and Google Plus were going to merge so that they could scale empty. They'd have analog empty and digital empty together. They'd have the largest scale empty.
That's vicious.
But it's true. And isn't it ironic that some of the greatest companies in history don't understand what made them great? Microsoft is Microsoft because Paul Allen and Bill Gates category designed the PC operating system category, originally with this thing called MS-DOS. They parlayed that into Windows, and then the rest is history. It's more complicated than that, but not much, actually, right? And it's the same thing with Google. Google category designed a new search market category, and most importantly, a new ad buying category. This is the part nobody gets. Google's Google, not because they have the best search results. Yes, they have legendary search results. The algorithm is incredible. It is amazing technology. Absolutely. And the auction business model for selling clicks is a massive innovation that created the category.
It's interesting.
Anyway, my point is
before
go ahead.
Since before actually I came across your work, I used to use this analogy actually, which actually is basically category design. I think in a different definition, and maybe you can check me on this one. But what I used to say was, you've got a motorway, with 10 lanes, they're all driving down the motorway. What you've got to do is create a new motorway, which has only got one lane in it, and you can accelerate, So you leave all the other cars; they're all in a traffic jam, and you're just like, you're just accelerating, and that's what I used to use, and effectively that's what, in a different way. I suppose that's my. Before I came across category design and the work you've done with all the guys, that's effectively what I used to just describe about differentiation and creating a new path to growth. So I don't
Absolutely.
know what you thought.
Our argument, and you clearly are one, Andrew, is that there have been countless intuitive, natural category designers for centuries. Human beings are Look, what are human beings? What are one of the things that we're the greatest at? Creating new and different futures. The reason human beings are at the top of the food chain of animals, because we're fucking animals, is because we can create in a way that other animals can't. And we can create some on our own, but we can create exponentially when we collaborate. And so the minute a human being goes, maybe instead of running around hunting and gathering, what if we fucking started planting berries in one spot? And what if you planted blueberries and you planted raspberries? And what if we exchanged them? And what if we lived together? And all of a sudden, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 14,000 years or so ago, and check me on the timing, we begin to shift into a new category of human being where we go from hunter-gatherer to farmer. That's a new category of living. The United States of America is a new category of country. And so anytime you see a discontinuous breakthrough, a massive from an old way to a new way, that's category design. And the people we admire the most are the people who do that.
It's like a fracture, isn't it? It's like a fracture. There's a fracture that's it created to
Yes.
take it to a new level.
It was this way, and now it's a new and different way. And one of the things we teach category designers, for example, you're going to go launch a new company, you're going to launch a new product, and you're going to create a set of activities. Maybe you're going to have an event, you're going to have a digital launch, you're going to have whatever it is you're going to have. Whatever the tactical things you are doing to launch the new thing, in category design, we teach what the experience of your audience, of your customers, of your top most important customers, what in category design are called super consumers, the top 8 to 10% of any of the influencers and buyers in a market, what we want them to experience is a before and an after. I'll give you a simple example. I became the head of marketing for a publicly traded software company in the mid-90s here in Silicon Valley. And they were already public. And so it was my first experience of kind of being an officer of a public company and dealing with Wall Street and the like. And so I would regularly, along with the CEO and CFO and several of our other key executives, back in the day, you'd get on planes and you'd fly to New York and you'd meet with investors and you'd go to the Goldman Sachs conference and present and right? Well, I was there. I believe it was 98, maybe it was 97. We could check. When Jeff Bezos was on his IPO roadshow before he went public. And he was the special keynote lunchtime speaker at the Goldman Sachs conference at the Four Seasons in New York City. And everybody who was anybody wanted to be there. And we were presenting at the conference, so we were there. And it was the first time I'd ever seen Jeff in person. And I don't know, there might have been 2,000 or 3,000 people, Andrew, in the audience during lunch. And every single fucking person there that had an IQ larger than their shoe size, they might not have understood what exactly happened. Was that a funny one? Did I get you with that one? And like, I knew I didn't fully understand everything, but I knew this. I knew I had just seen the future. It was very obvious. And it was a massive from to moment in my life. And I think it was for everybody who was there. That's the effect you want to have. Whether you're doing it at a Jeff Bezos level or whether you're bookies, two dudes trying to make a living during a pandemic who are getting criticized for making the pizza that they like, who go, all right, well, fuck you guys, inauthentic Detroit pizza. And now they have radical differentiation and their little business is taken off and they make everybody happy and they're awesome dudes and they're raising their families and the community loves them and away they go. It's the same spectrum, right? And any business leader, any marketing leader, any entrepreneur can do this wherever they want to play across the spectrum. But instead, we get lulled into competition. Instead, we get duped. The world teaches us what there is to do is fit in. When in point of fact, when you study the greats as we have with data, what there is to do is stand out.
Well, I think, I mean, there's that old thing about that old adage, isn't there? Is about if you get you get attacked if you don't perform. You get attacked if you do perform and you outperform. Yeah, and then that kind of drives people to the middle.
And the middle's the worst place to be. And who gives a shit? Here's the thing: you're going to be criticized anyway. So we just had this incredible football season here in the United States, American football, and in San Francisco we have this incredible new quarterback. We've all fallen in love with him. His name's Brock Purdy. He's 23 or 24 years old. This past season was his second year in the league. He got hurt last year, and we made it all the way to the Super Bowl, and of course had a crushing loss from the Chiefs. Anyway.
Oh, he's the 49ers. Yeah.
He was the 49ers quarterback. Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, on almost every metric that matters, not all, but many of them, he was the most outstanding quarterback in the United States this past season. He was not given the MVP of the league. They gave it to a different quarterback whose team got blasted out earlier in the playoffs. The media fucking loves, for whatever reason, to hate Brock Purdy. And he's the nicest guy. He's very affable. He's incredibly mature beyond his age. He's a religious guy. He's very grounded. I don't know why they hate him. He doesn't fit the narrative. He's kind of a little guy. He doesn't look tough. He looks like, in most of the photos, he looks like a guy waiting to get a selfie with one of the guys, because he just looks like a high school kid almost.
It's like a normal dude. Normal dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, the media loves to hate him. And Deion Sanders, who's a famous player, now coach in the United States, came out and said, if Brock Purdy walked on water, the media would say, well, that's because he can't swim. And so my point is, in our lives, we're all Brock Purdy's. Anybody who is trying to do something exponential, anybody who is trying to create a different future, anybody who's trying to generate and create something that did not exist is going to face radical criticism at whatever level they play, whether it's the local pizza places saying, fuck you, you're not going to be successful with that garbage, or whether it's people criticizing Bezos and anything in between, right? Who cares? You're going to get it anyway. Take a stand.
Well, it's like that. I think that's that. I mean, that's one of your points you make in that recent different post about young marketing leaders, isn't it? Is don't get caught up in thinking about what people are thinking about. You just get on with it. Yeah.
Just get on with it. You can't change what people think anyway. You can't. And at a minimum, the people that you respect are going to respect you for taking a position. I get criticized every single fucking day in the digital world, many times. First of all, I don't give a shit. I have thick skin, have at it, I don't care. Second of all, much of it is I respect and admire the guy. I think he does good work, or I think on balance he does good work. But on this, he's got his head up his ass, and here's why. Great. Have at it. Have at it. And if you want to have a thoughtful...
What you mean they take a position against you? They take the kind of the... Yeah, okay.
I don't care. So what? Have your position. And, in Silicon Valley, category design is still a controversial thing, even though at some of the top VC firms, it's become kind of, Play Bigger has been described as quote unquote a Bible. But it's very controversial because most people fundamentally believe that the best product wins, the best technology wins. And what you need to do is do smart positioning and tap into an existing market with a better product, and you're going to win. And just get good positioning and good messaging. You need messaging. You have some messaging and no positioning, and you're going to be successful. And ta-da. The truth is you're going to turn out to be fucking Google Plus and Google Podcast, but this is what they want to believe. So they go fucking believe it, and they waste billions and billions of dollars, and they criticize me and my partners for saying that it's stupid and creating your own market is too dangerous and all the fucking things that they say. Great. Have at it. I don't care. We are not in the business of convincing the unwilling. That's not what we're doing. We are here to serve the legendary entrepreneurs and marketers who want to do radically different, who want radical differentiation, who want to create a different future, and who ultimately want to earn 76% of a market category that they design. And if you already want to do that, or you intuitively, like yourself, Andrew, sort of these concepts sound familiar because you've been intuitively a category designer your whole life, you just didn't have the language, which is why we open sourced the shit in the first place. Great. And if somebody wants to shit on me, category pirates, play bigger, the whole thing, shit on it. I don't care. Great. Go fuck yourself. I'm not going to miss a meal. You're not going to upset me. Right. And so we live at a time where fitting in has never mattered more. Oh, we want to be, how many likes did we get? How many friends did we get? All that shit. And then the political correctness and wokeness and all this bullshit of the world has meant that marketing, the objective of most marketing, nobody ever says this, but the objective of most marketing at most companies is we want to be a Marriott lobby. So what's a Marriott lobby? A Marriott lobby is functional, is pleasant.
Functional but boring.
Yes. And
Safe.
completely forgettable on purpose.
Safe.
And oh, by the way, every single one looks like the other one.
Mm.
Right? It's the same mediocre breakfast. It's the same mediocre room. It's fucking beige. It's the same fake plants. It's the same muzak. Because the objective of the Marriott lobby is to be functionally unoffensive. Well, that's great. And it works for Marriott. Marriott's a wonderful company. And if you're trying to break out, if you're trying to break through, if you're trying to drive massive new amounts of revenue, if you're trying to build a flywheel of legendarily committed super consumers who love you and are going to drive a massive breakthrough in the number one form of marketing that never fucking gets talked about, word of mouth, well, you have to do different. The guys at Dude Wipes are not trying to do Clorox better. No. They're having fun. They're being playful. They're being professional and silly. And they're having fun with their brand. And they're pioneering the new category. And they talk about shitting. And they talk about guys' butts. And they talk about all the funny stuff. And they talk about how no woman wants a dude with the nasty butt and all of it, right?
But they stand out, and they obviously built loyalty because they build repeat. I presume they've got a big repeat sale as well, so people keep coming back.
Well, of course, because people subscribe to Dude Wipes on their website. Because I don't know, isn't there a children's book called Everybody Poos? Everybody poos pretty much every day. So subscribing to Dude Wipes, yeah. But they had the courage to be different.
I mean, it's interesting because you see what you're touching on is you're not just touching on the way to do it, but you're touching on a deep psychological, piece around bravery, courage, kind of like inside that individual about actually going out on, you could say, I don't know, phrase, going out on a limb, but creating that new motorway. And, I think that's the thing. I think you mentioned this, I've read this somewhere about, a lot of people walk into an existing operation and they don't want to kind of like rock the boat. Yeah. They don't want to be disruptive. They want to keep it running and just hope that the wheels don't
And
come
that's
off.
important if that's your job, by the way. If your job is to run the thing, then the person who says, fuck the thing, we're going to do a new thing, is not your buddy, right? So I get that. And listen, I want the folks at Visa who run the data center to be all about running that data center. I don't want any disruptive bullshit in there at all. And the degree to which you're going to try innovative new technologies, which is wonderful, I want you to do it very thoughtfully, experimentally, on the fringe, build it and test it. There's nobody who wants, hey, I want to be the first guy to walk across the experimental bridge. I want to be the first guy to get on the experimental plane. No, we want those things to be tightly controlled, heavily managed, radically governed, with incredible oversight. Of course we do. But here's the problem, Andrew. That thinking is more often than not applied to entrepreneurship, applied to breakthrough marketing, applied to quote unquote growth strategy. Well, you can't produce an exponentially different result with an incrementally better mindset. That's the problem. And the other aha here is most people do not get up in the morning and go to work and say, you know what we're going to do today? We're going to be legendarily innovative and creative, and we are going to design the market categories of the future, and we're going to kick some intergalactic ass and produce a massive breakthrough in value. No, most people get up every day and go, you know what? I'm going to go to work, either digitally or physically, or sometimes a mix of both. And what I'm going to do today is I'm not going to get fired. That's what I'm fucking doing today. Because I got a spouse and I got a family and I got a good job. I'm pretty good at that job. I clearly produce value. I'm an important cog in the machine. That's what I want to be. And then I want to go home and I want to have a nice dinner. I want to hang out with my kids, watch a little bit of Netflix, hopefully have sex with my wife, and go to bed and do the whole thing again tomorrow. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not being critical about that. That's a great thing that most people want to go do. It makes all the sense in the world. And there's somewhere around 5%, maybe some have argued 10% of people in business who want to do the exponential, who want to swing for the fences, who want to create the new and different, who want all others to, they want others to define themselves by them, not the other way around. That's who category design's for.
Wow, I did not expect. Some of those stories are brilliant. Are you going to put them in a new book?
Yeah, actually, we are working on our new book. We're always working on a new book. By the way, this is another thing I've found that's been so amazing in my life since Play Bigger came out. You know, I thought I was going to write one book, and that would be that. I will always be writing a book.
How many have you written now? Because you've got all the Category Pirates books as well. There must be at least 20 there. Is that right, or more?
Well, it depends on what your definition of book is. So what we do with the Category Pirates newsletters, the longer ones and kind of the more defining ones, because they're 5,000 to 7,000 words. We had this aha. This is a great example of category design thinking. So one of the other tenets of category design is reject the premise. So if you want to produce a breakthrough, you have to start by understanding the way it is now, and then to think in the most unconstrained, unencumbered ways about what could be true, you have to reject the premise. So we had this idea, and we said, well, are we writing a newsletter? It's content. Amazon sells Kindle books. How many words does a digital Kindle book need to be? And I forget what the number is, Andrew, but it's nowhere near what it needs to be a print book. So it's, I don't know, I'll pull it out of my ass. Maybe it's 3,000 words, whatever it is. We're like, well, shit, a lot of our newsletters are longer than that. Maybe not everybody wants to subscribe. Maybe we should offer ultimate flexibility and let customers decide how they want to consume our shit. So here's what we do. We write it on Substack first, and then we deploy it on Amazon as a mini book. So, so I think, to answer your question, I think I've written 6 or 7 big books and probably about 40 or 50 mini books that are available on Amazon.
Yeah, they're kind of like quite digestible. They're kind of like, they're kind of like niche down on particular topics. It's like
Correct.
a compendium. It's like a library, isn't it? Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So to the best of my knowledge, I've written 14 number one bestsellers, and then probably 4 or 6 of them are proper big books, and then the rest of them would be mini books that hit number one for one reason or another. But proper books, I'd have to go through them in my head. I could if you want, but it started with Play Bigger and then niche down. And then we did 1, 2.
Snow Leopard. I've got Snow Leopard as well.
Yeah, Snow
That's a good one.
Leopard. Snow Leopard was, I think, my 4th book. Anyway, whatever. A bunch of fucking books. Yeah.
I don't know. I need to know. I need to know 2 things, right? Swag, category pirate swag, or play bigger swag, or different swag. Yeah?
We're going to work. We're going to work.
When's it coming? You know, so I can
Matter
have
of
the
fact,
hoodie.
we're working on ball caps right now.
Obviously, you know, maybe you could do category pirate wipes. You know, arse wipes.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen. We spent enough time with Sean that I think we could.
Before or after the VC meeting, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to shit yourself before the meeting and after the meeting, or maybe just after the meeting, or whatever you need. You can have category pirates wipes for your big meetings.
But then I was also, are you ever going to do an event? You should do an event. You should bring everybody together. That'd be a great idea. I don't know if you thought about that.
We have
like a gathering. You know, like on a desert island somewhere. You know, we go as pirates.
It would be fun. And actually, I there's a place I love to go surf. I haven't been for years. I'm going to go back this year. That's a small, remote Fijian island, and so it's very piratey when you're there. So we thought about it. The reason we haven't done it is we elected to create a digital academy instead, because the digital world scales obviously in a way that the analog world doesn't.
Yeah.
And we also wanted to serve our most enthusiastic super consumers. And so late last year, we launched the Category Design Academy. We launched our first big Mondo class, which is a year-long program on how to become a category designer, and we'll certify you to do that. We're going to launch a bunch of other programs out of the academy soon. As I mentioned, we're working on our new book, which is called Paid to Create. We believe we're at a dawn of a whole new type of worker, where we're going to shift from the category that Peter Drucker designed called knowledge worker. And if you look at what the definition of knowledge worker is, it's somebody who acquires knowledge and gets paid to apply it. And since Drucker coined the phrase, he coined it to distinguish between people who work with their brains and their brawn. Well, our argument today is, in a post-AI world, the value of getting paid to acquire and apply knowledge is dropping exponentially in almost every field. I mean, we have human-assisted robots doing surgery today. You know, for a long time, airplanes land and take off by technology, right? And so, and the reason your mother wanted you to be a doctor, or maybe a lawyer, or an accountant, or a nurse, was because those were very valuable knowledge worker jobs, where you acquired high-end knowledge, you get paid a lot to apply that knowledge, and you make a very big difference in society that is very laudatory, which is wonderful. And when you can ask ChatGPT almost anything, and it can do it for you, and OpenAI just recently launched their video game creating thing. Holy fuck. You could create a video game with a handful of prompts. Wow. And so my point is, there's a new rung above knowledge worker now. And we call it the creative capitalist. This is somebody who can create net new thinking, not just learn and apply existing thinking, and capitalize on it, either for themselves as an individual, entrepreneur, creator, whatever, or as an employee. I have a niece who's an accounting manager. She's an incredible employee. She's a very smart gal. She loves her job. And they downsized her out when things got tough during the downturn after COVID. And they thought they could outsource her job to a different part of the country or a different part of the world. Well, 3 or 4 months later, they reach back out to her and they say, could you please come back, and we're going to increase your salary by 50%. And what they discovered was she is a creative capitalist. That is to say, she has ongoingly been creating net new approaches to improve the way they do their accounting, the way they pay bills, the way they get paid, the way they close it, whatever. I don't know all the fucking things, but she's consistently, constantly innovating in a way that only a human can. And if you have technology with a less capable person in a different part of the world, you can't recreate the ongoing new creative capital that she creates. That's an advantage, and that's how valuable it was.
Okay,
and
so that kind of human technology relationship is then generating and creating value, creating assets.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But what most people don't understand about the future, if you're an employee, if you're a worker, whether you're an executive or wherever you are, you must shift from being a knowledge worker to being a creator capitalist, a creative capitalist. You must become somebody who creates net new value on an ongoing basis, or you'll be replaced by a robot. And that's the negative side. The positive side is if you learn how to use these robots to do incredibly creative, powerful, innovative things, the next couple decades are your oyster. It's the greatest time to be creative. It's the greatest time to be a creator. It's the greatest time to be a marketer.
You become like an AI conductor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. Well, I think, that's an interesting way to conclude this episode, actually, I think.
I would highly encourage people to begin to think about, okay, what is it that I do in my work, whether I'm a CEO, entrepreneur, marketing leader, product developer, frontline sales, whatever you are, what component of my work is knowledge acquisition and knowledge application? And what component of my work is knowledge creation? And what I'm suggesting, what our research shows, and what if you begin to understand the shift from native analogs to native digitals, what you realize is the future belongs to the creative capitalist, to the person who can create net new knowledge, leveraging technology, not just acquiring knowledge and applying that knowledge. It's radically different from information worker to creative capitalist. And we all have to become creative capitalists. Whether you're my niece, Melissa, at one end of the spectrum, doing innovative, great creative work for her company that they can't replace, or you're the greatest entrepreneur, you're Jeff Bezos, you're Elon Musk, or in the digital creator world, you're Mr. Beast. It's all a spectrum. Those of us who don't understand this, who stay in the knowledge worker world, are in for a world of pain in the next 5 years. And that's why we're writing this book, because we think most people have what it takes if they unshackle themselves. And the reason we say this, Andrew, is all you have to do is to look at a child, and you know that radical creativity is at the core of every human being. Just watch a child. Watch a 5-year-old, watch 2, 3-year-olds play. And yet somehow we get less and less creative as we age. Yet when we're born in our early stages, we're radically creative at all the time. We're making up fantasy worlds. We're playing games. We're making up games. All this stuff gets beaten the shit out of us. Well, we have to tap into that now and use the legendary technology. You and I, if we wanted to do this 5 years ago even, we have to have a fucking radio station. We're using modern technology to produce a massive breakthrough in authentic conversation. Isn't that fucking incredible? And we didn't have to buy a radio station to do it. We had to have a MacBook, a nice microphone, and a few other things, and that's it. Now everybody can be their own TV show. Isn't that fucking amazing? Well, that's happening everywhere. And so we've got to unleash this creativity, and we've got to move from knowledge acquisition and application to becoming creator capitalists, creative capitalists.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's spot on with that. I mean, it's basically underpinning the creator economy, isn't it? It's that whole piece, but it's not just
Yeah, but it's not
for
when they
it's not
say
just for,
creator economy, what most people mean is I'm going to be a quote unquote digital creator. I'm going to have a podcast. I'm going to do a YouTube. I'm going to do a newsletter, all the shit that guys like you and I do, which is fine. If that's what you want to go do it. The reason I do this is in a prior generation, guys like you and I would be adjunct professors, and we'd get to help 200 people a year. Well, why the fuck would I be an adjunct professor? We're downloaded in 190 countries. We have a top 10 paid business Substack. And we have two podcasts that are in the top 0.5%. We get to impact millions of people around the world. Why would we limit? It goes back to your event thing. Will we do an event? Maybe. But we want to go where there's the biggest leverage and there's the biggest impact. And that is in the native digital world. And if we can help inspire, coach, and train people to create their own categories for themselves, to become known for something they can own as a creator capitalist, well, now you have a fucking future. And again, that could be as a legendary accounting manager in a mid-sized company in Colorado, or that could be Mr. Beast and everybody in between, or the next great entrepreneur of the next $25 billion company. It's the spectrum of the same thing.
No. I mean, when I say creator economy, I think what you're identifying is it's not just for that certain type of role, like the Mr.
Right.
Beast kind of thing, but it's what you said. It's traversing the world of business.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
no stone unturned. Don't be shy. It's actually interesting because it's back to that whole thing about category design. It's about being brave. Not being shameless. being stand out. Yeah.
Yes, and saying that I want to be a person who's helping to create a different future.
Mm.
And it could be for my family with Bookie's Inauthentic Detroit Pizza.
Mm.
And that's a very noble thing. When one entrepreneur rises up and is successful, she takes herself and her family and often her community with her. And entrepreneurship, for some people, is a way up. But for many of us, myself included, it's a way out. And when we give people the tools and capabilities to harness their own creativity, to follow their different, to have some of that courage, to be willing to be original and unique, to stand on the shoulders of greats and try to do something that creates a new thing of value as opposed to fight over existing things. When human beings fight over existing shit, they fight over scarcity, we kill each other. When human beings collaborate to create abundance, we can do anything. And fundamentally, that's what category design is about, is the ability to create the future for yourself, for your business, for your family, for your community, for your colleagues and coworkers and investors, if you have them, to create a future that delivers massive value to the people that you serve and delivers incredible value for the people who solve that problem for those people.
All to say to you is, I'm so glad we had this episode. It's only taken me 7 years to get you on the show, but apart from that, I'm still.
Have I been the pain in the ass?
You're my 7-year itch. You see, it's like
I didn't mean. Was I difficult? I hope I wasn't difficult.
No, not at all. No, I'm joking with you. No, fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Good, because I aspire to be easy to get a hold of. Not, there's.
I'm joking with you. No. I mean, I think it's that thing about. Also, it's it's all about timing, right? It's all about timing.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, I just think you've done you and the guys and all your team have just done some super work, some legendary work, and I am a super consumer.
Thank you.
I hate to admit it, but I will admit it.
I hope you love to admit it.
I'm joking. and I want that pirate swag, as soon as possible. Category pirates. I'll be walking around. I'll be walking around London, showing it off.
Katrina's working on the hats right now. That I know for sure, and we've had lots of demand for it. And shit, I want to wear it.
I want to get a tattoo. I should get a tattoo, really, shouldn't I? Like pirates tattoo.
I mean,
we should. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
No, I mean, come on, you got to have some piratey tattoos.
No, but I don't know. Maybe I've got a category pirate tattoo, but you can't see it because I need to be, more without
more out
without,
there.
Yeah, more without clothes. Maybe I've got it in a place that you wouldn't want to see.
Yeah, well, certain things you can't unsee, so be careful what you show me here, because I think you're very cute and everything, but as far as I'm concerned, you have all the wrong gear in all the wrong places.
Well, hey. That's next year. That's next year's project. Anyway.
Well, God love you.
Well, all I can say is thank you very much for coming on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you.
Thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate it. And thanks for teaching. Thanks for teaching entrepreneurs and marketers category design. It is the greatest underground superpower business.
No, literally, it was. I mean, over the last few years, I've used lightning strikes. I've used that concept, right?
Yeah.
And people they're going, wow, what's this? And they go, when you explain it, and they go, they get it, yeah. But it's like I find it incredible. Some people haven't read the stuff you've created. It's just it blows my mind, really, to tell you the truth. But maybe it's
the interesting thing about it. So category design, in many ways, is 180 degrees different than most of what we've been taught in business. And the unlearning is just too hard for most people. Because they've been taught to brand. They've been taught the best product wins. They've been taught build a great product and build it and they will come. They've been taught all sorts of dumb things like product market fit. Okay, well, nobody legendary ever fit their product into a market. That's fucking dumb.
They create a new market. Yeah.
They've been taught things. Here's another one. Minimum viable product. Really? You're building your MVP. Really? Oh, okay. Put minimum viable in front of any other word. Any word. Tell your spouse you want a minimum viable marriage. See how that works. You want to raise minimum viable children. You want to drive a minimum viable car. Let's build a minimum viable house. It is the dumbest fucking phrase ever. And everybody went, what we're trying to do is get product market fit with our MVP. Okay, well, you go have at that. And just those two pieces of mental scaffolding are so broken. Just listen to the words. In category design, we teach people all the time, listen to the words. But people don't listen to the words. That somebody they think is smart says, let's go get an MVP. Let's get an MVP. And nobody sits there and goes,
But this is. I mean, I've been on quite a few, few accelerators, right? And the challenge is it's drummed into these founders, right? They come out of university now and they go into these accelerators and they get some funding, get some initial seed funding, and it's just drummed. It's just that's it's an education issue, yeah. They get shown that's the path.
Here's the fucked up thing.
I see the problem here is that how do we embed? How do we
They
get
teach
these
them
people?
what to think. They don't teach them to fucking think. So listen to the words. Minimum viable product. What product would you like to buy from a company that says, well, here's our minimum viable product. Want to buy it? Fucking stupid. Now, by the way, I think what Eric meant, I don't know, but I think what Eric meant was, get in the market and play and innovate from there. Well, if that's what he meant, that's a good idea. But the fucking words matter. And these words are terrible words because they teach people dumb fuck things. Product market fit. Well, Mark Andreessen invented that term. The irony about that is Mark is the category designer of the internet browser. He did not fit the Netscape Navigator, which it ultimately ended up being called, into an existing market. The sum total market for fucking internet browsers when he created it was zero. He designed the market and the product together to solve a problem called how do I traverse the internet in a graphical way? He created essentially the windows for the internet, right? There was no fucking market to fit into. And yet the fucking guy says product market fit. And so now we have an entire industry of people going, oh, what we want is a minimum viable product. And once we get that, we want to achieve product market fit, both of which are absolutely dangerous mental scaffolding. And so you have to be willing to fucking think. And if you're in one of these stinkubators, you have to say, well, wait a minute. Name me one person who fit their product into a market. Name me one. Name me one legendary company that you want me to emulate, that you want me to model myself off that did that. Name me fucking one. Nike?
But that's the interesting thing when I've been on the receiving end of some of that stuff is that they then put up Airbnb, they put the usual suspects, Uber. Yeah, they talk about those. It's quite incredible. But actually, it's a good point. It's completely skewed, isn't it? It's completely skewed.
I was just talking to a friend of mine about this. I don't know why the fuck we don't teach this anymore. When I was young coming up, one of the things that we got taught was root cause analysis. And we got taught what you got to do if you want to get to the root of anything is you have to ask why five to seven times.
Yeah, the 5 whys.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's build product market fit. Okay, well, why is that smart? Most people today, on any idea, pick a political topic, pick a business topic, pick your favorite fucking sports team, pick whatever you want. They can't get past 2 whys. Yeah, one of my favorite right now, right? You want to get a little political. From the river to the sea, Palestine and be free. Okay, what river? Don't know. What sea? The Red Sea? Yeah, the Red Sea, you fucking moron. What is in between the river and the sea? Oh, Israel. What happens to Israel? Oh, didn't think about that. You fucking moron. You can't get past 1 why. They don't even know the name of the river. And so here's the thing. Today, more than ever, stupid scales. Yeah, that people don't fucking think. And so whether it's product market fit...
But what you raise is the issue about critical thinking, isn't it?
Correct.
About the lack of discipline around critical thinking.
Correct. Your own first. It behooves all of us to say, what am I full of shit about right now? Because we're all full of shit about something. Yeah. But we don't do that. So everybody copies, everybody competes, everybody takes the axioms that we've been told that supposedly smart people said, and we replay them, when in point of fact, they're absolutely insane. And nobody legendary ever did them.
Well, it's back to the thing we said a bit earlier. It's the Peanuts, it's the Charlie Brown, it's the Linus blanket, it's the terra firma.
Yes. And I will tell you this. I did not know the man, but I can tell you with complete certainty, Bob Marley was not trying to fit reggae into the existing North American music market. That's not what he was doing. Bob Marley was not trying to fit reggae into UK culture. That's not what was happening. And because he created a new category of music, or said more accurately, he took his country's category of music that had evolved and was the designer of bringing it to the world, well, then we get, ta-da, The Clash, who combined punk and reggae. New category, one of the greatest bands ever. Why? Radically unique. And if you've ever heard Sting interviewed, what you'd hear is no Clash, no Police. New category of pop music, alternative pop music with heavy reggae influences. Today, in Israel, there is a man who is a huge Israeli reggae star named Matisyahu. Who would have fucking thought that?
I've seen him. I saw him in San Francisco a few years ago. Yeah,
he's amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Well, he's a new category called Israeli fucking reggae artist. Anyway, you get my point. Fucking think.
Okay, so final question. So I know that obviously you're on the Tinternet. I suppose what's the for anybody that's listening to this and has provoked some thinking. What's the best way of getting hold of you or knowing more about your world?
CategoryPirates.com.
Arrr.
Arr.
Okay.
Yeah, it's most of it's there. I have a personal website too at Lochhead.com. So either or, it doesn't really matter. But normally Category Pirates is a little easier to remember. And yeah, I'm on the major socials and blah, blah, blah. But CategoryPirates.com. Arr.
Well, no. When I come back over to the US, I'm gonna come and see you in person if I can go for a beer, or we'll go for a Bucky's pizza if I'll come down to Santa Cruz.
First 27 beers on me.
I'll have to bring some whiskey with you as well, won't I? So you drink whiskey.
I would love that. I've been known to enjoy the brown liquid.
I'll bring you some nice Scottish whiskey if that's allowed. Or Japanese whiskey.
I love it all. Lochhead is a Scottish last name, as you might suspect, and so of course I love Scotch and everything that comes from Scotland, pretty much. The old, I don't know if you remember the old.
I'll bring you some haggis.
That's where I draw the line.
A fried Mars bar.
Yeah, exactly. But Japanese whiskey, and I love American bourbon. I love it all.
Okay, that could be quite a meal and drink session. Right. Well,
I'm up for it.
Thank you very much for your time, Christopher. Mr. Lochhead.
Thank you, Andrew.
That's been Christopher Lochhead, best-selling author of multiple books, CMO, disruptive CMO, I would call it, and drinker of fine whiskies. And that's been Andrew Turner.
And less than fine whiskeys, I'll have you know.
Okay, and if it's brown and got alcohol in it. And that's been Andrew Turner, founder and host of the G&T Sessions podcast. Have a lovely day. Thank you.